All right, thank you guys. Happy Friday to you, and welcome to College Football Week 12. And of course, this is our SEC Conference edition. As always, my name is Brock Page, and it's great to have you here with me today. And with that said, let's go ahead and dive into some SEC football action. And we got our first game queued up on the big screen behind me here. And we're going to take a look at Florida squaring off against Vanderbilt, and that's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern start time in Vandy. The Florida Gators are the 31-point favorite on the road, total 68. We're 5-1 in our last 6 extra daily picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. We're also red hot in that category right now. We're also 3-1 in our last 4 Underdog tier package plays on that site as well. And if you want to access the Underdog tier membership, that's only going to cost you just $4.99. Now, we currently have over 750 members signed up and active on that page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And of course, when it comes to this Florida Vanderbilt contest here, the Florida Gators are on a 3-game winning streak right now, playing some really good football as of late. They also went 3-0 against the spread during that stretch. Now, the Gators are scoring 46 points a game, and they're throwing for over 370 yards per contest. Quarterback Kyle Trask is completing over 70% of his passes, and he's thrown for nearly 2,200 yards on the season. Trask has also thrown 28 touchdowns, and he's been picked off only 3 times. Now, wideouts Kadarius Toney and Trevin Grimes, they have nearly 700 yards receiving combined, along with 11 total touchdowns together. The Gators have won 7 out of their last 8 conference ball games. They've also won their last dozen straight at Vanderbilt. Now, standout tight end Kyle Pitts will be sitting this one out against the Commodores, so don't look for him to be getting any action this Saturday as he's battling injury. But anyway, Vandy on the other side of things, they just lost their 6th straight ball game of the 2020 season. They're 0-6 straight up on the year, 0-3 against the spread at home. The Commodores are scoring just 11 points a game on their home turf, and they're throwing for just 201 yards a game in that same category. Quarterback Kenny Seals has thrown 8 interceptions through 6 ball games, as his leading wide receiver Cam Johnson, he also averages just 59 yards receiving per contest. The Commodores' leading rusher, Kean Henry Brooks, has also scored just twice on the ground this year through 6 ball games, and he averages only 62 yards rushing per contest. Now, Now, this Commodore defense is also allowing 45 points per contest at home and over 325 yards passing. Now, Vandy's failed to cover the point spread in 8 out of their last 10 home games. Of course, that dates back to last season. And when it comes to the total on this one, Vandy saw 3 out of their last 4 ball games get over the posted number. The Gators, on the other side, are 5-1 to the over for the entire season themselves. Give me the heavy chalk in this one. I'm going to lean toward the Florida Gators minus 31 and the over 68 in that ball game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for College Football Week 12. And of course, this is the SEC edition. But before we go ahead and dive into some more free content right here on YouTube, just got to quickly remind you once again that we are red hot in our extra daily pick package right now. We're 5-1 in our last 6 extra daily picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. And once again, if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. We're also 3-1 in our last 4 Underdog tier package picks on that site as well. And access to that Underdog tier is only going to cost you just $4.99. Now, we currently have over 750 members signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that webpage is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And moving on, we're going to take a look at LSU squaring off against Arkansas. That's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern start time Now, the Tigers of LSU are -1 on the road, total 63 and a hook. LSU is coming fresh off a 48-11 beatdown at the hands of Auburn. They also dropped 2 out of their last 3 ball games, and they gave up 117 points during that stretch, really struggling defensively. Now, quarterback Miles Brennan is out for the season, won't see him in action. LSU's allowing 34 points a game and 335 yards passing. Now, the Tigers have also failed to cover the number in 5 out of their last 6 at Arkansas. And speaking of the Razorbacks, they're one of the best covering teams in the country right now. 3-0 against the spread at home, 6-1 against the number overall for the season. Now, this Razorback defense is allowing just 23 points per contest at home and just 191 yards passing in that same category. This Razorback secondary has a staggering 13 interceptions on the season, 16 total takeaways. Jalen Catalan and Hudson Clark lead this Arkansas secondary with 3 interceptions apiece. Now, Catalan has 70 total tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 4 PBUs, and a pick 6. And, of course, linebacker Grant Morgan currently leads this club in tackles with 85 of them. Morgan also has 4 PBUs and a pick 6 himself. Arkansas has scored more than 28 points or more in 4 out of their last 5 ball games. And that lone game where they didn't score 28 points or more, that was a 24-13 victory over Tennessee. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, Arkansas has gone 3-0 to the under in their home games this season. Meanwhile, LSU saw 2 out of their last 3 road games stay under the line themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the dog in this one. Give me the underdog Arkansas Razorbacks +1 and the under 63.5 in that ball game. All right, next contest I have for you, it is going to be Kentucky, Alabama, and that is going to be a 4 p.m. Eastern start time. And is that it there? Yep. 4 p.m. Eastern start time in Tuscaloosa. The Crimson Tide's -30, total 58. Kentucky's giving up just 18 points per contest on the road this season. 182 yards a game passing they're allowing in that same category. This Kentucky defense has 11 interceptions on the season. Defensive back Kelvin Joseph is leading the charge with 3 of them. 22 total tackles and a pick 6 for Joseph. Linebacker Jamin Davis also has 73 tackles on the season, 2 interceptions and a pick 6 for Davis as well. Now, this Wildcat defense is allowing less than 4.8 yards per play when they travel. They're taking on an Alabama program who failed to cover the number in 4 out of their last 8 head-to-head meetings. And when it comes to the total in this one, the Crimson Tide has seen their last 2 straight ball games stay under the posted number. Meanwhile, 4 out of Kentucky's last 5 outings stayed under the line themselves. They're also 3-0 to the under on the road for the Wildcats as well. I think Alabama probably get ahead big early and put it in cruise. So with that in mind, give me the underdog, Kentucky Wildcats +30, keeping it within that 30 points, and the under 58. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Tennessee-Auburn, 7 p.m. Eastern start time at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The Auburn Tigers are -10 with the total at 50 and a hook. Auburn's on a 2-game winning streak. 84 total points they racked up during that short span. The Tigers have also won 3 out of their last 4, and they're perfect 3-0 straight up at home this season. The Tigers are scoring 36 points per contest at Jordan-Hare Stadium, 185 yards a game they're rushing for at home. Running back Tank Bigsby's rushing for nearly 6 yards a carry, and he scored 5 times on the ground. And, of course, quarterback Bo Nix has also rushed for nearly 300 yards on the season, along with 3 rushing TDs. Now, Bo's also thrown for over 1,400 yards this season and 9 touchdowns. Wide receiver Seth Williams has 28 grabs for 511 yards and 3 scores. Williams is averaging nearly 19 yards per contest. Now, this Auburn defense is also giving up just 17 points a game at home and just 98 yards rushing. So Kobe McLean leads this Tiger D in tackles with 62. He also has a pair of sacks from that linebacker spot. And defensive back Roger McCreary also has a pair of interceptions from that secondary. 26 total tackles, and 3 PBUs for McCreary. Now they're taking on a Tennessee program who's on a 4-game losing streak themselves. Things are looking real bad for this Volunteer ball club. They've averaged just 14 points a game during that 4-game losing stretch. The Vols are 0-3 against the spread when they travel, and just 1-5 ATS overall for the season. Now, the Vols are gaining less than 4.75 yards per play from scrimmage, and they're throwing for just 174 yards per contest. Now, quarterback Jarrett Garantano is completing just 61% of his passes, and he's thrown for only 6 touchdown passes all season. Keep an eye on Garantano, as he's been listed as questionable. Actually might be an upgrade for this Vols offense if he doesn't play. And, anyway, his leading receiver, Josh Palmer, he's averaging just 53 yards a game receiving. Meanwhile, defensively, this Volunteer D is giving up 32 points per contest and 161 yards a game on the ground. Now, this Tennessee secondary only has themselves just 1 interception all season as well. The Vols' other interception they have on the season is from a linebacker. So just 1 interception from this Tennessee secondary. Now, Tennessee's dropped 14 out of their last 17 road games. They've also dropped 6 out of their last 7 against Auburn. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, 2 out of the Vols' last 3 ball games on the road got over the posted total. 5 out of their last 9 head-to-head meetings with Auburn got over the line as well. Give me the Auburn Tigers -10 and the over 50 and a hook in that game. All right, next matchup, Mississippi State, Georgia, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time in Athens. Georgia's the 24-point favorite at home, totals 44.5. Now, as good as Georgia has played in certain spots this season, they have failed to cover the point spread in their last 3 straight. They're also just 1-2 straight up in those 3 failures to cover. This Georgia offense is throwing for just 196 yards a game at home. UGA's also thrown for 9 interceptions already, and their leading receiver on the team is averaging just 66 yards a game. Meanwhile, this Georgia defense is giving up nearly 290 yards a game passing at home. They're taking on a Mississippi State team who's gotten to the quarterback 14 times and has a dozen takeaways. Cornerback Emmanuel Forbes has a couple of interceptions from this Mississippi State secondary, 4 PBUs and a pick 6 for Forbes. Linebacker Tyrus Wheat has 3.5 sacks along with 18 tackles and 2 fumble recoveries. And linebacker Errol Thompson has 58 tackles, a sack, and an interception. Thompson is a 6'1", 250-pound unit, by the way. This guy is a tank. But anyway, total-wise, 3 out of Georgia's last 4 contests got over the posted number. Georgia should end up getting the W here. Just don't know if they're going to be able to score enough to cover that big number. Give me the underdog Mississippi State Bulldogs +24 and the over 44.5 in that contest. And with that, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Mizzou, South Carolina, 7:30 p.m. East. Missouri is -6 on the road, totals 57. Now, Mizzou hasn't played since October 31st, and that was a 41-17 loss to the Florida Gators. The Missouri Tigers are 0-2 straight up on the road this season, and they failed to cover the point spread in both of those ball games. Mizzou's scoring just 14 points a game when traveling, and they're rushing for just 83 yards per play in that same category. Their leading receiver, Jalen Knox, has yet to have a receiving touchdown this season, and he averages just 47 yards receiving per game. Meanwhile, defensively, Missouri has given up 38 points a game away from home and over 200 yards on the ground. South Carolina, on the other side, has successfully covered the point spread in 2 out of their last 3 home games. The Gamecocks are also rushing for nearly $170 a game on the ground. Kevin Harris has 817 rushing yards on the season and 13 touchdowns. Harris is gaining 6.2 yards per touch and gains 117 yards per contest on the ground. Now, wideout Shi Smith also has 53 grabs for 596 yards and 4 touchdowns himself. Meanwhile, defensively, defensive lineman Kingsley and Abari has 5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles from the defensive line. Now, total-wise, 2 out of South Carolina's last 3 ball games got over the posted number. The Gamecocks are officially 71% to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Missouri saw 2 out of their last 4 ball games get over the line themselves, of course, throwing out that Florida game. So we're going to finish up the show with another underdog. Give me the underdog, South Carolina Gamecocks +6 and the over 57 in that ball game. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.